Just days before the race cars lined up at the Villeneuve circuit, a major storm brewed inside Ferrari, and it had nothing to do with speed or performance. What began as an internal rift quickly turned into a full-blown crisis that shook the very structure of one of Formula One's most iconic teams. The focus shifted away from lap times and tire strategies and landed squarely on Ferrari's leadership, specifically the fate of team principal Frederic Vasseur. As rumors swirled and the media buzzed with speculation, an unexpected voice finally broke the silence: Lewis Hamilton. Until then, he had kept his thoughts to himself, but when he spoke, it was with unusual clarity and confidence. What he said sent a ripple through the paddock. Fred's not the problem, he's the plan. Simple words, but they hit hard. Ferrari's 2025 season had already gone off the rails. The much-hyped SF25, hailed as a symbol of Ferrari's comeback, turned out to be full of flaws. It lacked consistent speed, the race strategy was often chaotic, and results were scattered. Meanwhile, teams like McLaren and Aston Martin were making solid progress. Ferrari, on the other hand, was slipping, not just in performance, but in confidence. Within the team's Maranello base, the mood was darkening. Reports of growing tension among departments started leaking out. Some whispered about upcoming staff changes. And then came the shocker: rumors that Vasseur wouldn't make it to the end of the season, that his exit could come within hours. It was no longer just about racing. The internal framework was showing signs of serious fracture, and just when it felt like everything was caving in, Hamilton spoke up, not with a polished press statement or vague answer, but directly, and with strength. His message wasn't just about defending a colleague. It was a statement with weight, one that made it clear he believed in the larger project Ferrari had committed to. For Hamilton, this wasn't about protecting one man. It was about protecting the direction of an entire team. Hamilton didn't switch from Mercedes to Ferrari just for a faster car or a new environment. His move was tied to belief in a vision, in the potential of something being built from the ground up. And at the center of that belief stands Frederic Vasseur. Removing him now, mid-season, wouldn't just mean replacing a team boss, it would mean tearing down a blueprint that's still taking shape. What Hamilton said wasn't a casual remark. It was carefully chosen and delivered with purpose. He wanted those in charge, the decision-makers behind the scenes, to understand that he didn't come to Ferrari to watch it collapse under the weight of short-term thinking. He came to help create a winning culture. And he knows from experience that winning doesn't come from panic or rushed decisions. He's seen what works. At Mercedes, he played a key role in one of the most dominant eras in F1 history. He witnessed how steady leadership, even during tough seasons, laid the foundation for long-term success. He watched Toto Wolff shield the team from internal drama and maintain focus on the bigger picture. Hamilton knows how champions are built, and he wants Ferrari to learn that lesson before it's too late. His message to the Ferrari leadership was clear: stability matters more than appearances. Real progress takes time, and breaking the structure now could destroy more than it saves. He wasn't defending Vasseur out of personal loyalty, he was defending the idea of patience, of sticking with a strategy through both the good and the bad. Inside Maranello, the tension was already close to boiling. Hamilton's words only added fuel to an already heated situation. For some, it was exactly the push needed to stay the course. For others, it was seen as interference, a driver stepping too far into management territory. But whatever the reaction, no one could deny that Hamilton had changed the conversation. The spotlight had shifted. Now, it wasn't just about Vasseur's performance. It was about Hamilton's growing influence at Ferrari. Behind closed doors, things were far from calm. A trusted insider revealed that Ferrari's boardroom had turned into a battleground. The leadership was now split in two clear directions. On one side, a group remained firm in their belief that Vasseur's approach, though slow, was methodical. They saw early signs of a foundation taking shape, even if results hadn't shown yet. On the other side, there was frustration. Driven by a hunger for quicker success, they argued that Ferrari couldn't afford to waste another season experimenting with ideas that hadn't delivered so far. Then came Hamilton's open show of support, and it changed everything. His statement was more than just an opinion. It was a move that shifted the balance of power. No longer was the discussion centered on whether Vasseur should stay or go. The bigger question became, how much say does Hamilton really have within Ferrari's leadership circle? And if his voice carries real weight, then who's truly guiding the future of the team? As this debate gained traction, another name began to surface: Charles Leclerc. Once considered the face of Ferrari's next generation, the driver suddenly found himself drifting from the center of attention. When he first signed a long-term deal, the idea was to build the team around him, to make him the foundation of Ferrari's next era. But now, things were shifting. There was a noticeable tilt forming around Hamilton and Vasseur. The alliance between them started to take on a stronger shape, and as their influence grew, Leclerc's position became more uncertain, not by any direct action, but by quiet realignment. He was no longer the core figure around whom everything revolved. Slowly, his role seemed to be moving into the background. For someone like Leclerc, who gave some of the best years of his career hoping to bring Ferrari back to the top, this shift felt like a betrayal of trust. He didn't just sign up to drive fast cars. He committed himself to a vision, one where he was a central figure in a rebuilding process. Now, that vision appeared to be changing without him at the heart of it. This isn't about personal pride, it's about the emotional weight of watching a dream fade, bit by bit. Ferrari, once seen as the team being shaped around his talent, was now leaning toward a new structure, one that placed Hamilton and Vasseur at the core. For Leclerc, the transformation wasn't just strategic, it was deeply personal. Meanwhile, the Villeneuve circuit wasn't just preparing for another Grand Prix, it was becoming the place where judgments would be made. If Ferrari failed to show progress, all eyes would turn toward Hamilton. His vocal backing of Vasseur would come under fire. Critics might call his words naive or miscalculated. Pressure would intensify, and the fractures within the team could deepen. But if Ferrari finds form, if the car finally performs, then Hamilton's stance will be seen in a completely different light. Not as a risk, but as a turning point. His message would be remembered as the moment Ferrari chose to stay steady instead of surrendering to panic. In that case, Hamilton wouldn't just be a driver, he'd be the force that helped save Ferrari from imploding under its own confusion. And now, the questions grow louder. Was Hamilton's move purely out of belief in Vasseur, or is he playing a larger game, one where his voice becomes more than just opinion, but policy? He's no stranger to power plays. He understands F1 is as much a mental contest off the track as it is a speed contest on it. One thing is clear, this weekend is about more than points. It's a test of direction, loyalty, and leadership. What Ferrari chooses to do next won't just affect a race, it will decide whether this legendary team moves forward with purpose or slips back into old habits.